Hey everybody, welcome to Test Chamber. I'm Kyle Hilliard and Joe Juba is here.
That's me.
And we're playing DmC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition, I believe is how we spell it out on the website. So, and Joe, you've played this a lot, so you've already got a bunch of missions unlocked and everything.
Yeah. So,
I was just going to say, you reviewed the original, right? Like when it first came out in 2013?
I think I did, yeah.
I'm pretty sure you did.
That sounds right.
I'm confident in that.
Okay, yeah, I did.
Okay.
I know I played it a lot. I don't, but yeah, I totally love this game. We'd probably want to just do a normal playthrough.
Don't want you to die too much.
Yeah. So anyway, this is new, and let's see. We'll do. Trying to think of where we should go. Let's try this.
Oh, this is cool. I always thought of this as the Futurama level.
Futurama level?
Yeah, because it reminds me of the Slurm episode of Futurama.
Oh, yeah. I see that. Yeah, it's totally... Actually, yeah, the whole concept for this level is sort of stolen from that. So, apart from the sort of obvious visual improvements that we've got going on here, new things to this mode include turbo mode and must style, which we're gonna try and give a shot. It also comes with the DLC skins, so it's like,
oh, that's cool. You can have classic Dante. That's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll try playing with that. Turbo mode makes things go faster. Must style means that you can only do damage when you're up to an S rank.
Oh,
so
weird. Okay.
That's gonna be a little tough.
But you can handle it though, you think?
Well, we'll see.
All right, I guess we'll find out.
And then there are also some very small changes to the overall encounter design or level design and stuff like that.
Okay, so it is more than just a visual upgrade then.
Yeah, this is actually this is not just a game where it only looks better.
Mm-hmm.
However, I guess I'll say unless you were really into it, you might not notice the changes. Like they're small but important little polish things.
Yeah, but pretty high level kind of like you wouldn't notice it.
Yeah, like if you just played through this game once when it came out and were like, oh, that was fun, and then moved on, it will probably feel like the same game. But I think for people like me who, I got all 1,000 achievement points in this on 360. For people who really dove into it, seeing the additions are really cool.
Okay.
So things like the must style mode, like the turbo mode, we're gonna skip this, by the way.
Yeah, I think you can hit the pad. Yeah, there you go.
So things like those were actually sort of born out of mods that people did for the PC version.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's cool.
And this goes into some of the other sort of smaller changes here, which is like
been here before.
It used to be that colored enemies, there were some enemies that were specific to either your angel or your demon weapons, and if you hit them with the wrong one, you'd sort of recoil.
Yeah.
They made it so that you don't do that immediate interrupt. There's not that immediate recoil. So it's still an option to use other weapons against them, but they're just not very effective.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just another little.
Yeah, see, you're already I liked this game a lot. I wouldn't even consider myself a huge Devil May Cry fan. Like the first three, I liked them. I played through them. Although I will say I didn't beat 3, but I beat 1 and 2, and I had a good time with them.
Yeah.
But I love this. I think personally, this was my favorite Devil May Cry because I really like what Ninja Theory did with it. I thought it had a really cool style, and the combat was super fun. But even what you're saying, I'm the guy that played through it once and had a great time.
Yeah.
And the stuff that you're saying, I'm like, okay, that sounds really kind of almost borderline menial,
Yeah. Well, and again, so it's the kind of thing where it's if you. There's still a reason for you to go back to it because it does look a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't know how well this is coming through on the video, but it runs at 60 frames, and it just looks
generally sharper.
Yeah, it just looks good.
I remember this part.
But for the most part, it's not like there aren't a bunch of new unlockable characters or weapons or anything like that.
Are there any new levels altogether, or just a lot of kind of smaller changes that affect the gameplay overall?
Generally, it's smaller changes to the content that was already there.
Okay. Okay.
What took you so long?
Okay. So
but in terms of like definitive edition type changes, it sounds pretty substantial because I think like the Tomb Raider definitive edition, they changed the Croft model a little bit, but otherwise it was like the same game, you know? So this sounds at least like they went in and kind of tweaked a lot of stuff to, you know, to change it.
Okay, finally I'm up at S rank, so now I can do damage.
That's so fun. That seems difficult.
Well, and the other thing, there's also a hardcore mode, which is not a new difficulty level. It's more like a shoot. It's going to be hard to get up to it here. The hardcore mode isn't a new difficulty. It's more like a layer that you add to your current difficulty.
Okay.
So there we go. Oh! I blew it. Shoot. So like the hardcore mode makes it. I don't think I have it active right now, but it makes it more difficult for you to get style points, a little more in line with what the original DmC games were like.
Okay.
So it makes it so combining this must style mode where you can only do damage at S rank and hardcore mode means that it's really hard to get up to S rank, and you can't damage enemies until you do.
Okay.
So
if you just hate yourself,
I mean, you can make it really challenging, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Good. But that's Devil May Cry, you know? Like, man, I remember a buddy of mine, Jim, was like, he spent like all summer playing the original Devil May Cry and Dante Must Die mode, and I just remember getting updates from him every couple of days, just like, yep, I made it, like, you know, what normally took me like 20 minutes, it took me 3 days on Dante Must Die, and he loved it. Like, that's Devil May Cry is challenging, and that's what people love about it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I said, I never beat 3. Like, I just hit a point. I hit a wall in that game where I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, three gets pretty tough. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. Oh, great, and now I'm all the way down again. So, anyway,
don't talk, Joe. I'll talk. So I remember one thing I remember about this game, and it was before I was working at Game Informer, was when they announced it. People were kind of up in arms pretty quickly because of how drastic it was. Different from Capcom's Devil May Cry. It's funny because now you have the Dante skin, so he looks like Dante. But I just remember people were upset that Dante looked so different, you know, and he looked like this like skinny hipster kid.
Yeah.
But I was just such a fan of Ninja Theory and Heavenly Sword and Enslaved that I was just like, I want those guys to like just take the ball and run with it and see what they come up with. And I guess, and it seems like Capcom felt the same way. I think I read somewhere, like in an interview with Ninja Theory, that Capcom told them to not be afraid to like upset them with their design ideas, which is cool. Like, I appreciate that Capcom was willing to let someone take their franchise that had been kind of, you know, sort of been diminished after 4, you know, and like let somebody just try something completely new with it. And I think they were successful. I really like this game a lot.
Yeah, I think they did pull back a little bit from the sort of druggy Dante design, I think.
Yeah, that like,
by the time the final version came around. Sorry,
but I don't think that was because Capcom told them to. I think maybe that might have been a little bit of fan response.
Yeah, but that would not surprise me.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, people were so upset about it, but they didn't pull back completely either.
Yeah,
you know, like,
it's good.
It still looks different. I'm trying to think of. Oh, another thing to point out about this game. This version of it is that they reshuffled around like the secret doors and secret key. So some of them are in the same place, but like it used to be that you needed like an argent key to open an argent door and stuff like that.
Okay, that's actually a nice little touch. That's cool.
Yeah,
so now kind of gives you a good excuse to revisit it.
Exactly. So now any key will open any secret door. You don't need to like collect the right one. And some of the locations have been shuffled around a little bit. So that was something that I found actually kind of surprising as I was going through it, just because I thought I knew where I was going at one point, and it was like, wait a minute, there's supposed to be a thing up here, and there wasn't.
I do remember you playing this in the office and shouting, "Wait a second!"
Yeah, that's how I do it. Anyway, there's also one other change that I want to show you quick, but we're going to have to cut away for it. So here we are, we're back, and this is just another dumb little thing to point out. is that in this scene originally, Virgil was wearing like a weird bowler hat, fedora kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And that's something that I think Ninja Theory even came out and said that like they didn't necessarily want to do that, and that was kind of like some marketing pressure or something.
Really?
So like Virgil now in the definitive edition just never wears that hat. It was in his like concept art and all that stuff, but yeah, he's normally wearing like he was supposed to wear a hat in this scene, and he just doesn't anymore.
That's such a weird little touch, but I do appreciate it because that hat was dumb. Like he's supposed to be this like leader of a rebellion. And he's like wearing a bowler cap. Like it was distracting. It was weirdly distracting.
It made him look like some sort of hipster dandy instead of this like instead of the. So that was one little weird thing I was going to show. We should cut away to another edition here that fans might enjoy too. All right, so what we're going to look at here. The reason we're at the menu is because as soon as we start this, we're going to see a small new little cutscene that adds some context to. Some events that had recently happened in the game.
Does it explain why Virgil lost his bowler cap?
No,
Does it get blown off his head with the wind or something?
No, actually. So what's happened here recently is that like Virgil. This is where after Virgil is sort of shot Mundus's like paramour and killed the baby, and it was never really totally clear what his motivation was on that. So what I think is interesting is this, right as soon as we start up, I think is going to be the new stuff that it's a very short little scene, but it is them sort of explaining that a little more for the...
Just gives you a little more context.
Yeah, just for the... I think it's not like the story is super fantastic or anything, but at least it sort of makes a little more sense. Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Hundreds of thousands. My decision. My cross to bear.
You have no right to decide the fate of so many.
I know it was extreme, okay? I know there was a cost. But it worked. Mundus acted impulsively, in anger. The Hellgate is spent, and Mundus with it. For the time being, at least. But now is the time to strike.
Cat is in no state to do anything.
Yes, I am. You need me. Oh, they tortured me. I left my body. That's how I endured for so long. I explored Mundus's tower. I know how it works, how it's wired, how it feels. You both need me to defeat Mundus. And you need each other.
So, and then this is where it starts, where this should be familiar, where she starts actually like drawing out the plan and.
Oh, okay.
You know, this is
this is where it started initially,
right?
Okay, gotcha.
Of Mundus's power.
So, the other thing that I think we should check out is another exclusive thing to the definitive edition, which is the Bloody Palace mode, which you used to be able to do just as Dante, but now. Because the Virgil's Downfall DLC is included in the whole package, they added it for Virgil also. So we're going to go check that out here too.
Let's do it.
All right, so here we are at the Bloody Palace. We're going to leave Must Style off, but I think this is another new addition, is you can actually disable the timer when you do these. So Bloody Palace...
Yeah, I don't think I never really dabbled in here, so tell me what it is, Joe.
I believe originally it actually came out as like free DLC after the original release. So if you just played it as soon as it came out, I think you could have missed it. But it's essentially just waves. You're just fighting waves of enemies in increasingly difficult combinations and just sort of general.
Okay, is it endless?
General setup. No, it has a set number of levels. So I believe for Dante, it's sorry, I'm not saying I'm great at this game, but I'm way better as Dante than I am as Virgil.
I have been enjoying watching you play because you are good at it, and this is a really good game for watching someone who is good at it play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean I just played through the Virgil thing. Like, I just did one playthrough as him, so I don't have like all of his abilities unlocked.
Yeah, you don't have all his
but,
combos memorized.
So
and stuff.
for Dante, I think Bloody Palace is supposed to have 100 levels, and for Virgil, I think it's just 40. Or maybe it's I don't
know the exact number.
Don't quote me on those numbers. I don't remember what they are. Yeah. But
this is like this sort of mode is something that Capcom sort of started. Like I think Onimusha had it, something similar to this, where you had to go through a bunch of levels and the enemies got increasingly harder. And then like it showed up in like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and stuff like that. Like, and then there's been a couple of games that use, and I you know, similar to you, don't quote me on this, but I think Onimusha was actually like one of the first ones to do it. So I think the original Devil May Cry had it. I know 2 did. What would you say your favorite Devil May Cry is, Joe?
You know, I will always be partial to 3, but it's hard. Like 3 Special Edition, I think, is the best one.
Okay.
Because that's the one that introduced like Virgil as a playable character finally. And what Virgil adds to it, and then you also see later on in DMC 4, is this sort of like, and which incidentally carries over into this game also, and that's just the emphasis on mobility. So it used to be Dante was all about like guns and swords and cool combos, but he wasn't able to really like move from place to place very super quickly, right? Like getting in front of the enemies and finding good ways to do that was sort of one of the challenges.
That's cool.
So what Virgil introduced in 3, in the Special Edition, is he had sort of a teleporting power, right? So that just meant that that just made you able to sort of get around the battlefield in a more interesting way. And in DMC 4, they carried that idea over to Nero with his like devil,
his like hook shot,
the devil bringer thing. And then in this game, you see it on Dante, and Virgil with the sort of the ability to warp to or to bring warp to enemies or to bring them to you.
Yeah. Does Virgil not have a gun? Has that always been a Virgil thing?
No, he's got a sword. These swords that I'm shooting is his.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's cool.
And this is his version of Devil Trigger, which is the sort of spinning swords. He also has other Devil Trigger abilities that he can do.
Okay. I like how that attack is like you stand next to me and get hurt.
Yeah, it's pretty handy. So anyway, so this is a new thing for Definitive Edition also. So pretty much, I mean, in this test chamber, we've pretty much looked at almost exclusively new stuff. I mean, like the missions themselves have been old, but at least there are enough new features and scenes and stuff to talk about that it's not just the same old game all over again.
Yeah, it's more than just a visual upgrade.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Though at the same time, it's not it's not a remake. It's not super expanded, but as a fan, I really appreciate the sort of polish that they've put into it.
Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is a really good look at the Definitive Edition. It looks like it comes out March 10th on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Do you know if it's coming to PC? Maybe in the future?
I don't know. I would say that a lot of the sort of perks of this game are things you can get on PC through mods and stuff already.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Because, you can probably already get the visuals up to this standard on PC just with the normal game, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, Joe, for showing us the game. It looks lovely, and I look forward to touching it again.
Yeah, thanks for talking so I can focus.
You're welcome. I'll always do that for you, Joe. The end.